So it it goes dark and then it goes. Ooh.
Welcome to A Decent Neighborhood, also known as the Cinema 9 podcast. Today it's Stir of Echoes. That will be the focus of our Does It Hold Up or Not? There's no guarantees, but we'll find out later in the show. I'm Michael Govier, Travis Roy, Eric Branstrom, Cinema 9 podcast at protonmail.com, Cinema 9 pod, and all your favorite standard issue social medias. Travis Roy, Hazel Park, Michigan. Had any good soup lately?
Have I had any good soup? I had some tomato soup recently. It was Campbell's variety. Nothing to get too excited about, but I add a little pepper, a little parsley, the parsley flakes. Soup with pizzazz. Soup of echoes.
Sounds delicious. Griffith, Indiana. Eric, what do you think?
When you're unmute yourself, you should tell us about what kind of soup you've been eating.
He should.
Gentlemen, I can't thank you enough for coming out here this evening.
Oh, I know that voice. Is that David Paymer?
It's Heath Ledger. David Paymer.
I swear that's David Paymer.
Come on, guys.
He's joking, right? It's Heath Ledger as Joker.
No.
Play it again, Michael.
You know this, Travis. Hang on.
Well, gentlemen, I can't thank you enough for coming out here this evening.
Well, Michael Wincott, the Crow.
This is so far off.
Is that
last time.
What?
One more time.
That was not Michael Wincott.
Is that a Dinner for Schmucks quote?
What is this?
Well, there is a dinner going on. I'll give you. That's a hint. You get.
Yeah.
Not my dinner with.
Well, gentlemen, I can't thank you enough for coming out here this evening.
Bill Fichtner?
Well, gentlemen, I can't thank you enough for coming out.
Well, this is annoying me, and I'm a co-host at this point. Like you just want to tell us.
Please, Billy, no gibberish at the table. I beg you.
What?
Come on, Billy Madison, get the fuck out of here.
It's been a while, man.
I'm
sorry.
Oh my God.
Obviously, I know the movie, but it's been a long fucking time.
It has been a long time. Wow. Well, I thought it was just second nature in my friend groups, but apparently I was mistaken, and I apologize for making assumptions about that.
No, I feel like if you're, what day is it? October? But you went with a deep cut there in the Billy Madison repertoire. That was, for me.
Okay. Well,
who
I don't expect Eric to get it. Eric doesn't.
Clip? Is that like a hit highlight?
You're not a big Billy Madison fan. I wouldn't expect you to get it, Eric. I really
Any Happy Madison movie, I'm not a fan of.
Back to school. That's different, but that's the guy from Christmas Story. The Bumpuses. That guy. He's a good actor. I enjoy his work. So I don't know his name though.
You know what? I gotta tell you, I'm feeling great. I was talking to Travis earlier. Today was my last day of school, so I don't have to do shit for like 3 months except sit around, watch movies. But lo and behold, my wife is sick again. I literally might have to feed this baby at any time now. I'm just like, she's sleeping. I'm hoping I don't have to feed a baby and talk about Kevin Bacon's jackhammer face.
Good Lord.
That's a lot of sick, man. I hope she feels better. I hope you don't get sick.
We might need to get some soup in this household. Campbell's chunky little chicken.
Something.
Yeah, obviously.
Some chicken in it, perhaps.
Yeah, or maybe.
What did you have? A few drinks this morning? Huh? I think you did.
Yeah, cut loose. Maybe you guys need to cut loose. You're too uptight there. That's why you're getting sick. You guys just gotta let it rip.
Mike Govier's approach to medicine. How you doing, buddy?
Speaking of which, Mike, you still focused on death? How many Camus novels did you read in the past week?
I can't see what your sugar mode is on. What sugar mode are you on right now? On or off?
I can't reveal that. It's in between. So except death, still number one on the list, of course, and we'll get there. Anton Orenko says that's so amazing you can speak so fast. It's pretty cool, isn't it, Anton? Thanks for being here. We love having people be part of the show. It's always a good time. And here in Livonia, Michigan, where I live, it's the same old story. I actually got really scared the other night because
you watched a horror movie?
No, I watched it on Saturday and then I watched it again today before the show. But I live in an area that's pretty quiet, even though I'm in Livonia. And that's never happened. I've never been in my bed at 3:30 in the morning in the dark, oh fuck, what's out there? There's a lot of critters out there. I love animals though; it's cool. But it's the first time it got to me. I thought I heard a noise. I thought I heard another noise. And then I went and checked all the windows around the house to make sure they were locked. It's the first time that happened. And I guess every once in a while, you live alone, that'll happen. So
yeah. Oh yeah. Every now and then, just inexplicably, I'll get paranoid and be like, I gotta run around the house and check all the locks. Where every other night I'm fine, but this, I didn't even hear anything. It's just, the spook came along.
It's natural. It's a part of. It's gonna happen when you live alone on occasion, but generally I'm pretty comfy where I live. Aaron Worley's checking in and wants to know what war movies we'll be watching this weekend. Did somebody watch a war movie last weekend?
No, it's Memorial Day weekend.
Memorial Day weekend, yeah.
I just don't think about things like that because it's still pandemic world. I don't know. I'm not out of pandemic world yet, so I don't think about special weekends.
I have to work on Memorial Day, so it's not a special weekend for me. I will still memorialize,
Will you?
But I don't like watch war movies on. You know what I mean? Like I don't have like a go to. Like okay, I'm gonna watch Good Morning Vietnam because it's Memorial Day weekend. Like it's Christmas.
Well, Aaron himself is a veteran, so Aaron,
yes, he is.
What war movie would you watch, Aaron? You let us know, and we'll happily respond.
Absolutely.
But my go-to war movie, if I had to have like one, it's probably it's not Full Metal Jacket, not Private Ryan. Private Ryan's too much of a commitment. It's probably Glory. Glory's technically a war movie, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
wow. Okay.
that's my go-to war movie, and I know that as we have gone on, maybe it's become a little problematic, but it's just still some really powerful scenes in that movie, and I don't care what happens. So.
I don't know how problematic it is. I have to go revisit it, I guess, but it's pretty historically accurate. I actually, I know the historian that was like the main, like consultant on that movie.
No shit.
It's pretty goddamn accurate. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I know it was based off Colonel Shaw's letters, at least, which are real.
Yeah, very famously though, the end of the movie where like it says they lose Fort Wagner. Like no, they actually succeeded in their task. It's so bizarre. Like they succeeded in what they were doing. Like they valiantly won the day, and then the end of credits like come up and they lost Fort Wagner. Like what the fuck? No, they didn't. Why would of all things? Why would you put the exact? It's very strange.
Of all things to bullshit about. Yeah.
Yeah. Other than that, from what I understand, pretty accurate.
Yeah, they say at the very end, the fort was never taken. What?
Right. No, yeah, it was taken by them.
Why? If anything, the text is supposed to be like the most accurate part of a movie.
One would think, fuck with the dialogue, not the events.
You don't have to take any liberties with the text you put on the screen at the very end.
Yeah, about cool. Aaron says his go-to war movies, Biloxi Blues. Anybody?
Love it. I love Biloxi Blues.
Yeah. Oh, really? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Thin Red Line.
Thin Red Line's my all-time favorite war movie, period.
Oh, wow. Aaron, you're hitting on everybody's favorites. Well done. And the entire Band of Brothers series, which, of course, is outstanding. Yeah, it's great. If anyone says they don't like that, then they're just being an asshole. So.
Well, I mean, I don't know. That's my opinion.
If it makes them uncomfortable. If it makes you uncomfortable to watch, but if they say, like, it's lame. No, I'm not going to accept it, lame being the comment. But I never,
Go ahead.
Biloxi Blues, I only saw once, and that was a year ago. Because Aaron would always talk about it when I lived with him. Like, is this movie that good? Because it was a Neil Simon play written by Neil Simon, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's one that he and I have discussed quite a few times because we both have like undue emphasis on it in our lives. Whereas, it was one that I grew up with a copy of. He clearly did too. So we have heavy nostalgia for it.
Oh, interesting.
I've heard from many people that I know that have been involved in combat, and from what I read online, that Platoon is supposed to be the most accurate depiction of war ever put on film. That's a movie I haven't seen in a long time. I'd be interested in looking at it again.
That's a great selection, actually. I know, and we know how we know what Travis is going to say.
Love Oliver Stone.
Actually, Travis is a part. Yeah, I love Oliver Stone too, but Travis is a part of this milieu now where people have
what is this milieu?
Yeah, they've shit on Oliver Stone. He's also done damage to his own reputation too. So it's twofold, but that doesn't mean a Platoon is not in Wall Street. I mean, that's not a war movie, but
you can love Putin and still make good movies. I just think that he doesn't make particularly great movies.
Well, that's why, Eric, I don't know. Eric, keep Platoon in your chamber. Maybe we'll pull that one out. I would like to watch that again, too. I've only really seen it once, and I've seen all Stone's movies many times. So, we have a quick question from the audience here from Anton. Thoughts on MGM being bought by Amazon? Does anything come to mind? Eric, you're like our requisite movie insider, I guess.
We're talking about the entire catalog. So the big franchise heavy hitter here is James Bond, and it's not, don't worry, I mean, those aren't going straight to Prime. It's just I mean, it's just a credit they're going to end up putting in the front of movies. I mean, what does this really affect? They buy the catalog. You can watch them on Amazon Prime. It's affecting nothing. MGM Studio was pretty much dead 2 years ago, pretty much just about to sell itself to Time Warner anyway. So it doesn't really matter who they sell it to, in my opinion. The movies are the movies.
Just another inch closer to one or two corporations running the world.
Globotech.
I mean, I think the bigger question might be Disney buying DC Comics.
That's to me is
a huge thing.
Come on.
I hope that doesn't happen. Now, I've only seen, I think We Got This Covered reporting that. Have you, which is a complete shit website, in my opinion. Completely, I take them very much with a grain of salt. Have you seen it anywhere reputable?
I'm hearing this right now from you guys. You guys are blowing my mind.
It's a rumor at this point. I think the fact that it's blowing minds is reason enough for them to print it. I find them pretty. We'll see. They've reported true things before, but seldomly first.
God damn it! All right, well, fuck. Kind of bums me out, but I'm gonna hope that doesn't happen. Maybe there's a chance it won't. Right? Okay.
I don't want that to happen. I don't want Marvel and DC under the same cinematic umbrella. I just don't want that.
Well, I mean. So this is, I'm thinking off the top of my head, would that mean it'd be easier to do crossovers and people think that would be cool? Is that possible?
Do we want that really at the end of the day?
I don't want it really, but I'm just thinking of the one thing that people would latch onto, I guess. Or a selling point.
Seems like a mess.
Ugh, what a mess. Do you guys know that Russell Withers, he DM'd our Twitter account. Did you guys read that?
I missed it.
Well, he says, guys, this was after last week's show.
Oh, wait, no, I saw it. Sorry, continue.
Oh. I don't think Eric saw it. And the rest of you might want to hear about it. Russell's a big fan of the show, Russell Withers. Please follow him on Twitter at Armchair Roto, R-O-T-O. He's a great guy. He does killer bully gifs, by the way, which is a unique niche, I will say that.
A resident bully giffer.
Bully giffer.
Bully giffer! Bully giffer!
Bully giffer!
Guys, love the show. Number one, can't believe Govier's never seen Aliens. Top 10 all-time action film.
Did you amend that over the week?
No, I haven't yet. No.
Oh man,
unbelievable movie.
I'll get there. Secondly, regarding the convo about DVD collections, a few years ago, I converted my entire collection to digital files and used an app called Plex to stream them from a computer server. So if you want to download it to your smart TV or computer, you can send me your account names, and I'll happily share my library of thousands of movies with you guys, which is really nice of him.
Is that legal? Are we totally outing him right now?
No, because they're his, right? Isn't that legit?
I don't know, man.
That's what Plex is. Plex is allowing Plex. You can have a server if you own the movie. I think that's where the legality here is okay. Because it's on like Roku and it's on Apple and shit. You can download that app. So if that was like bogus, wouldn't they not let that allow to be happening?
I don't know.
I got a strict like no download, no torrent policy. That's just me. So I'm wary of it.
Yeah, but that's different. He has his own DVD collection.
Very nice of him to offer. I hope we didn't,
like if I can, like if Russell can send me receipts from where he purchased these DVDs, I might be interested.
You might be interested. Okay, cool. Anton says, "Thanks, guys. Love your podcast." Thank you, Anton. You're a great humanitarian, I think.
Thank
All
you.
right, let's get to our other email from Aaron. I was checking out your internal spit shine of the feckless kind episode. And it made me think, you guys watch so many freaking movies, and clearly there are highs and lows. True. If you could erase one movie from your memory, but might pique your interest afterwards, one that you may be inexplicably drawn to, what would it be? I'll hang up and take the answer off air. Thanks.
So something that not necessarily that we like, something that we want to re-experience for the first time. Is that what I'm getting from this? Right?
One that I thought like one that you, yeah, I guess so.
I think take it as like one it was so horrible you want to forget you even saw it, but you might be interested in seeing again sometime.
Right, like so it's the plot of the movie, right? Like he wants to erase Clementine, but he kind of wishes he didn't after the fact. Is that what he's saying?
Oh, yeah, okay. This is an Eternal Sunshine. Okay.
Eternal spit shine of the feckless kind.
I had to get it in the proper perspective. Man, I'm not sure. Nothing leaps to mind.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah, because pretty much if I wanted, like, I'd love to delete The Pest from my memory, like I'd never seen it. but I would never be like, ooh, well, maybe it is good, like that wouldn't happen. Yeah, I got nothing.
I did see a meme or like a thread on the internet yesterday about this guy recorded his daughter watching the Empire scene where Luke, I'm your father for the first time. She's like 7 years old. Like, you can never have that again, right? It's just a one-time thing. But like I know, yeah.
I'm confused. In the movie, he's so tormented about how this relationship went that he wants to erase this experience from his memory because it's painful. I'm thinking a movie that was so horrible to sit through or that haunts your days that you want to just pretend you've never seen so you don't have to deal with it anymore, but it may pop up again because that's how fate works.
I'm thinking maybe like for me, I think I would do the remake of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Like that one, like it was pretty fucking awful. But at the same time, I could see myself being drawn back in and being like, well, maybe a reboot wasn't a terrible idea. And then, be like, oh, nope, it was still terrible. Just like that relationship in that movie was.
Yeah, for me, it's Last Jedi, and I'll leave it at that. No conversation necessary.
Oh, boy.
Damn you, sir. Damn you in that opinion. All right, continue.
I'm with Travis on that. It's not so bad. And I know Aaron hated it too. So I think Aaron and Eric are on the same page. Me and Travis are on the other side.
The most divisive Star Wars movie in movie history.
No, but then what pisses me off more about Aaron is that he said he didn't have a problem with Rise of Skywalker. Now that actually pisses me off more because that movie sucks. And time is going to go on and people are going to watch that movie and be like, this movie is it's not even divisive. It's just shit.
I don't even know if it sucks necessarily because God help me, I've not watched it since theaters. I don't think I didn't give it a second go. I was just like, fuck it. Like I'm not interested. I almost did. I started at one point. Then I was like, why? And I stopped it.
Exactly.
I know what I'm going to get here.
Exactly. Thank you. You said it so well. I don't have to say anything. Perfect. There's no repeat value. There's no like, oh, I gotta experience that again.
That movie gave us Dio, the droid that don't touch droid, which I love. I loved him. He's great. But like basically, I just go on YouTube and probably watch like all of his scenes condensed into one thing and be fine.
I think one movie that I could fit into Aaron's little construct here is Freddy Got Fingered. I would be happy to like erase it from my memory, but I know for some reason after the fact, I would have my interest peaked again. I'd be like, why am I drawn to this movie? I don't even know anything about it.
You mean you hate that movie? I thought you loved that movie.
No, I don't hate it, but I could see that. I could see it being annoying after a while. I'm like, okay, I've had enough of this. I don't want this in my life anymore.
Literally every time Mike is about to give his choice, if you look at my face, watch very closely and listen to the timbre of my voice. I'm secretly hoping and praying that he does not pick Freddy Got Fingered.
Travis is just as likely to pick it,
if not more so.
See? Aaron says, I owe Aaron an apology here. I do not like Rise of Skywalker! ! I apologize, Aaron. I put out false, bogus information. I'm sorry about that. I gave it harsh reviews. Chad said he liked it. Chad, is that true? You can chime in on the live stream if you like, or you can email the show, cinnamon9pod@protonmail.com. All right. Well, thank you for your emails and all the such. Of course, don't ever email us again. Travis, Roy, time for you to give us your quarantine viewing picks.
Oh, well, I've been off TV for quite some time, but I was pretty excited about this new MODOK TV show. But, I binged it all in one day. I love Patton Oswalt. He's a perfect choice to voice MODOK. But, man, it really highlighted that shit that comes out of anything other than Marvel Studios is just not great. I laughed twice. I'm not going to watch season 2. I just was not into this at all. I would not recommend MODOK at all. Which really surprised me is I thought I was going to fucking love it. But it was just...
What is MODOK?
Yeah, what is he? Like with that weird face? Like
he's a giant floating head. He's like a genius with a floating head. He sits but his head's too big for his body, so he's like stuck in a machine. He's a genius, evil genius, imbecile, puny brains, all that kind of stuff. He's a lot of fun. He's a fun Marvel character, like probably too weird for live action. So it was cool to make a cartoon for him, but it just felt like so many other things that I've seen before, just with Marvel, with MODOK superimposed over it. Like it
is okay. Is he X-Men? Because I always just get him confused with Mojo, who is cool.
He's not a mutant. He's just like he's a genius, and he altered his body, he mutated himself, if anything. But yeah, he's a supervillain. He's not a good guy. Eric or Mike, you got a question about MODOK?
Yes, question from the audience. Is this the Patton Oswalt thing?
Yes, Patton Oswalt voice.
Oh, well, that sucks. That must be a bummer then.
Yeah, I had high hopes, and it just fell pretty flat. I would not recommend it.
Okay.
Other than that, Mike, I was so excited that you picked a horror movie that I watched nothing but horror movies all week long. It was an all horror week, not a single movie that was not a horror movie. It was kind of fun. Got a little challenging a couple times. I'm like, man, I could kind of go for not watching a horror movie, but I would find it's one of the things I love about horror is that there's horror drama, there's horror comedy, there's horror sci-fi. There's all kinds of different horror. So I watched From Beyond for the first time from 1986, cult classic. Yes. Gotta love it, man. I mean, just you had the Reanimator team largely reassembled, and it's just gory, goofy, fucking rubbery fun. I loved it. I can see why it's a cult classic. I watched Army of the Dead, Zack Snyder's recent offering that is blowing up the Netflix. Either of you guys watch this?
Reviews turned me off, brother.
Like, what the fuck? When is this guy gonna get an editor? I mean, it's 2.5 hours long, man. It's actually like a decent movie. It feels very much like a video game, and it's actually pretty fun, but it's 2.5 fucking hours. It's so bloated. It's unnecessary. Like, if they had just chopped it down and made it manageable, it would have been maybe even 2 hours. It could have been fun, but it's a 2.5 hour fucking slog. And after Justice League, I just I wasn't really feeling it.
You know what, Zack Snyder? Yeah. Oh, go ahead, Eric, please.
Remember 2005? I'm pretty sure we saw it together when we walked out of Dawn of the Dead, or was it 2004?
I believe it's 2004. It's the movie
speechless.
It's a movie I've seen most in theaters still to this day. I've watched that movie so many times, but
filmmaking.
He's come a long way. I mean, yeah. Go ahead, Mike. What were you going to say?
I just want to say, if he needs an editor, you got to look at a project first and know this.
Always know if the juice is worth the squeeze.
It's that simple. Come on, Zack Snyder, get it together.
I mean, it must have been done okay because it's already got a prequel planned and a spin-off series. The guy, apparently whatever he touches makes money. It doesn't matter if it's good or not. So, yeah, again, I wouldn't recommend it. Eric, you were trumpeting you're singing the praises of Richard Linklater.
The genius. Oh, Richard Linklater. I was talking about Barry Levinson, but
I'm sorry. I meant to say Barry Levinson.
The genius of Barry Levinson. Go ahead.
Barry Levinson. We're not Richard Linklater. Sorry. But you call him the working man's director over our text thread. I'm going to strongly disagree with that because I find him to be a very esoteric director. I mean, he did Fast Food Nation, which is so fucking weird. And he did he
did he do fucking Rain Man?
That Richard Linklater did Fast Food.
Am I getting these people messed up?
Yeah, we on the same page.
Mixed up together.
Yeah, you're having a bozo
party.
All right,
what did I watch then? I watched a movie called The Bay.
Did you watch that? Confused.
That was directed by Barry Levinson. Okay. Yeah. All right. So Barry Levinson did not do Fast Food Nation. I take that back. Let me look at his what he's done real quick. Yeah, he did. He's done some great stuff like Wag the Dog, which is obviously fucking awesome. He's done a lot of good stuff. You're right. Some of this I did not see. The Humbling we talked about before in the show. The Humbling was it's a masterpiece. It's great. But I do think that he's he does some pretty different kinds of stuff. And The Bay was one of the weirder horror movies I've ever seen because it's very much a like an eco documentary, and it's all very based in reality. And it's just it's one of the most geniusly put together found footage, documentary style horror movies I've ever seen. And I'm blown away by the first 2/3 or maybe half of this movie. And then it just amazingly just sputtered out and just it was weird. It was just it felt like a news piece. It was so strange. It was very, very uneven filmmaking, but I did watch a Barry fucking Levinson movie. I don't know why I've got him made it in my head with Richard Linklater. But I was like, I gotta watch a horror movie, but it's gotta be Barry Levinson. And I found the one horror movie that he did, and it was okay. It was worth seeing. A movie I would not recommend to you, Eric, was Jim Cunningham's follow-up to Thunder Road. Since you didn't like him, this is a similar movie, but a black comedy werewolf movie called The Wolf of Snow Hollow, which I would recommend to other folks that liked Thunder Road. This is a similar movie, but with it's a fucking horror comedy, and it's also Robert Forster's last film, so it was fun to catch that.
I heard great things. Yeah, I'll do see it. I think there's a talent there. It's just that character, the Jim character in that particular film, I couldn't deal with, but I like the filmmaking, so I think I'll check that out.
It's a very similar character that he's playing.
Okay.
All right. So I like he's even playing a cop again. So like I don't know how much it's going to be for you, but I liked it. It was different. It was a different kind of horror movie. But the movie I'm going to recommend, and I'll wrap it up. I watched quite a few others, but I can't talk about them all. The movie I'll recommend above all others that I watched this week is #Alive, a South Korean zombie film from last year. If anyone's ever read World War Z, not the movie, because the book is so different from the movie. In the book, there's a character that's like a Japanese guy who's like stuck in a high rise during all of this happening. And this is basically that. I mean, they're Korean, but they're stuck in a building, like an apartment building, and the zombie apocalypse is happening around them. And they got to deal with things like, how do I get food? How do I get water once all of these, the utilities shut down and that kind of stuff? And it was really fucking good. There's been a bit of a resurgence of zombie horror lately, and a lot of it has not really been worth catching. This one definitely is. #Alive. And that's what I watched.
Not to be confused with 1993's Alive.
Right, which is John Patrick Shanley in a very fine film, but not the one. No, this is #Alive. It's on Netflix.
Is that the one where all the soccer players from Buenos Aires were Idaho? Uruguayan. Thank you.
Rugby players.
Uruguayan.
My bad.
Yeah.
Good movie, though.
Great book, too.
So for me, I got to tell you, I had kind of an interesting week here. That started out with a film called Barry Levinson. I jumped in on I still got this HBO account, so I'm like, fucking Barry Levinson made all the slew of movies with Pacino. The one I did loved, You Don't Know Jack, loved Phil Spector. I never saw Paterno, so I
you said you don't
Paterno.
Are you mixing both of those together? I'm sorry, I confused. I'm sorry.
I've been eyeing it. Was it good?
Loved it. Loved Paterno, and you know me. I mean, I don't give a fuck about football or any sports, but like I said during the Moneyball segment, like if you can make me like care about this, even this industry or like these politics involved in this sport, I'm interested. Barry Levinson is so fucking gifted at like nuance. Like he'll take you inside a character's head, and he doesn't just like film the screenplay. Like every scene has these tiny little moments where he's making you feel like his characters feel, and not in a cheesy way. That's so fucking hard to do. I love this movie so much. I love Riley Keough. Like, I don't know why more people are not talking about how good this actress is. She's so under the radar and so intensely powerful. Pacino, fantastic. And this story, like, I'm scratching my head on this. Like, I'm not going to mention this media personality by name, but I completely agree with him. When this happened, they should have just fucking closed the entire school and donated like all the proceeds to like help for sexually abused victims. Like, it's preposterous what happened here. And I could talk your ears off, but I could not believe what I was watching. I didn't look enough into this story. Like, these people praising this person. Fuck this guy. This Joe Pa asshole. Fuck this guy. I don't care what anybody says. I have no sympathy.
They took his statue down right after this. He lost all. I mean, he had credibility for 50 years, and then as soon as this happened, they shut him down. He died right away too. He's like, yeah, they got me. I'm dead. He died like right after it got all broken out. So
yeah.
They put you into the mind of like this, he's 84 years old. He's at the end of the road, and they're tossing every excuse you can possibly throw at you. Like, oh, he's old fashioned. And like, this is how like masculine men were. They just said, don't worry about it. I mean, the man is good at his job. Turn a blind eye. It's just so disgusting, and it's not told one way or another. There's no point. There's no like viewpoint here, perspective. It's just, I loved it so much.
Real quick before we move on from that, though, I got to mention that. So you call out Joe Pa for this, but we got to mention the guy who actually did the fucking deed. Is Jerry Sandusky is the ultimate. He's the guy who did all. He's the ultimate scumbag. But yes, Paterno has culpability.
You see something like that happen or hear about it, and then to like tell your boss. But I'm a teacher. I'm a mandated reporter. I mean, it should be all over the place.
All three of us have been or are.
It just blows my mind.
Could I interject real quickly before
Please.
you continue on? As a bald man, would you indulge me by turning your head kind of one way or the other? Because your bangs right now are doing the most amazing, like, swoop.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Just turn your head a little bit one way or the left. Or
Remember that Mel Gibson chicken movie? What was it, like Elvis
I look
Chicken?
like Rockadoodle right now.
Yeah,
and it's amazing. Turn to the left or
Turn
the
to
right.
the side.
Yes,
there we go. Yeah. More to the
like
side.
fucking Morrissey in like 1986 right now, dude.
Yeah.
You're like a cartoon character of a greaser right now.
Yeah, it looks like Rockadoodle. That's what it's called, Rockadoodle. I could not think of it. I cannot believe you got that, Eric. Well done.
You're killing my point. Anyway, this guy's a fucking asshole.
One more point. I'm sorry. I'll stop. But this is
just amazing. I'm sorry.
It's actually your hair is incredible. Yes.
Yeah.
But just as amazing is the fact that Penn State is not normal anymore. Since Penn State in 2011, you have Michigan State, Larry Nassar right here.
Oh, yeah.
Larry Nassar. That's us.
Yeah.
Well, this is an institutional problem. And now Michigan has their own physician who Bo Schembechler looks like he's going to be the guy who's going to get his statue torn down next. It's fucking insane.
Really?
People just, dude. This guy called Dr. Anderson. Google it. Check it out. It's fucking hundreds of cases of sexual manipulation. And he was a doctor, just like Nassar. It's just like,
Jesus.
It's just like the institutional, we have to hold up the institution at all costs. And that's what's going on here, man. I know this is a movie podcast,
Mike, and I'm like, what are you going to do in this crowd if you go to this school? Like, this jock mentality celebrates the school, and it's all about, I don't want to get into it, but I was fucking throwing shit in my living room. I would never do that. I was just so fired up.
I remember when it happened in 2011. I was emotional. I met because they had live feeds out in CNN right outside Joe Pa's house, and all these chants. We love you, Joe. It's like, what? I'm like, this is insane, and I felt sick to my stomach because of all the shit that guy did. It was fucked up. And Paterno is a good movie. Yes, good call.
Great film. I'm sorry to go on too much about it. I checked in with The Whole Truth, Keanu Reeves, like courtroom drama. I scrolled past. I'm like, you know what? Fuck. Is my New Year's resolution to give these movies a chance that normally I would just be like, what? No one's ever heard of this. Who cares about this? This is probably awful. It's good. It's solid. It's a solid courtroom movie. You got Renee Zellweger, like a month after she got the surgery, for like the first half hour, I was like, hey, who is that? She looks kind of familiar, but like maybe like someone stole her face and like put it on another actress. And is this like a deep fake? No. Renee Zellweger, fantastic in the film. Great court drama. Like Keanu Reeves, like there's no character there. Like there's no like story. He doesn't go home and like have his own deal. Like I once lost a case where like a kid died. There's no story for him. He just like, it's just the case, but it's still a good courtroom movie. It's called The Whole Truth. I recommend it. The woman.
Isn't that classic, Travis? Isn't that classic, Eric, by the way, what he just did? If anybody who knows Eric for many years.
Dude, I'm evolving. Normally, I would never even watch it. Like, I'm surprised. I was surprised.
I know you are. You're always surprised. It's fucking hilarious.
Netflix finally releases the movie that's been on the shelf for like 2 years because it was so bad. The studios didn't know what to do with it. The Woman in the Window with Amy Adams and Gary Oldman.
Did you watch it?
Powerhouse cast. I turned it on. I could not believe how inept the film was by director Joe Wright, who all of his films suck in my opinion. Darkest Hour. I'm sorry, good performance, but terrible film. Peter Pan remake. His movies suck. This movie's it's so bizarre, like how this like just like arrived at where it is right now. It's so heavily edited to the point of it's nonsense. Don't watch it. I'm begging you. And then I gotta tell you.
Wait, real quick, who starred?
Amy Adams.
So she's had kind of a double whammy from Netflix of
there's a slump. There is an Amy Adams slump, and it sucks.
It's a shame.
I won't
She's
hear
great.
Fucking fantastic.
I won't hear of it.
It's not her fault.
She'll bounce back. She's an incredible actor.
In fact, like any like YouTube nerds out there, I bet you could take all of this footage and make like a pretty fucking decent thriller, because it's just belabored with this awful score and this frenetic ending that makes no sense. So any like would-be editors, try to make something out of this fucking god-awful movie that exists on Netflix. Finally, I turned this on. It's been like 25 years. I almost shut it off so I could do an episode for the podcast. I turned it on as a joke. I'm like, all right, I'll put this on the fucking background, make fun of it. And it's good almost immediately. And every single time, like I think it's gonna like start getting dumb so I can like get some work done. It gets even better. Stargate. When's the last time you checked in?
It's been a minute.
About 2 years ago.
It's fucking
I think I watched
awesome.
it at Aaron's house.
It's fucking good. I'd heavily recommend you watch it again. It's like classic like event movie of the 90s where like it knows it's super dumb, but like it works. Like all the components like work together. Like the dumb tech guy saying something funny. Like all of the stuff is solid. Like I'm thinking to myself, like, if this was like rated R and not so neutered and like had like a touch of Verhoeven and then this and that, it would have been a classic. But it's a little bit too neutered and clean, but it's still fucking good time when it comes to action sci-fi in the 90s.
Kurt Russell's character is fucking dumb, and there's a bunch of leaps that go on. Whatever, we're not doing that movie. But okay, cool. I'm happy for you.
All right,
that was not the movie that I thought was going to come out of your mouth. By the way, that actually
Stargate. I'm coming out as a fan.
That threw me out for a curveball. Well, as far as what I watch, this would be the last week where I'm going to reduce my movie intake because I've been watching way too many movies, and there's things I want to do in this life, and life's starting to come back. I'm fully vaxxed. I'm free, so.
Hey-o.
I'm going to start reducing, but this is the last week of the full movie load. But let's get to it. I forgot to mention this movie. I watched it a while back. It's called The Good Woman is Hard to Find. It's a fucking great movie. It's an Irish film, and it's about a good woman is hard to find, but it's like a action kind of thriller, suspense situation. So I would strongly recommend it. It's fucking intense and really good. A Good Woman is hard to find.
Who stars? Like, I don't know many Irish.
Oh God, what's her name? Hang on. I know her because I looked at her face, but I don't know her that well. You know what I mean? I was like, oh yeah, that lady. Here we go. It's a Sarah Bulger. Anybody? Sarah Bulger?
Nothing.
Is it like a take on A Good Man is Hard to Find, the Flannery O'Connor Irish classic thriller?
Oh, well, that must be exactly what it is because I never saw that, but I bet there's a connection. See, this is where your film historical knowledge comes into play. Thank you very much. But I never saw that, so I wouldn't be able to confirm that. But it definitely is an Irish film, without a doubt. And it's intense. I finally did it, Travis. I don't know why I waited so long, but I watched My Octopus Teacher, and it was just so wonderful.
It wasn't it?
Just everything you want, It's so life-affirming, as Eric Brancher would say.
Yeah, it really is. And it did not. And your fear of death is still on the board after watching that. Not like you didn't look at the board and be like, "Well, maybe I got a new perspective here."
No, it did help me out for a little bit, but then
it's okay to die.
So, it's just I wasn't expecting that. I didn't know what to expect. You just don't see that type of relationship. It's a rare moment. The guy got it all on fucking tape, though. It's crazy. Yeah.
I'm a little surprised there was not a message in the text thread, a picture of you crying. Did it not bring you to tears?
I actually didn't get to that level on this one, but I still found it incredibly profound.
You can be moved without being moved to tears. It's not, it doesn't, well,
that's good to know.
It's not like a metric of whether or not it affected you.
Nope, sorry. I need proof, physical proof. I never saw this movie, Captain Corelli's Mandolin.
It's on my list. It's a Nick Cage movie, I haven't seen it.
I'm shocked. You haven't seen it.
Yeah, I know. How was it?
It's
I did watch the Nick Cage movie this week, but
it's oh shit. Is it Ang Lee?
Gemini Man?
No, Captain Corelli.
That's John Madden from Talented Mr. Ripley.
Oh shit, John Madden. I got that way wrong. Never mind. Anyways, I watched that one, Eric, and I actually thought it was pretty good. It's got a 5.9 rating on IMDb, but I think it was much better than that. So, Travis, I would definitely, as a Cage fan and a history guy, check it out. It's about World War II in Italy, which we don't always get that perspective. So.
What about Talented? Anthony Minghella did Talented Mr. Ripley.
Yeah, my bad. I think it is that dude. I always got this.
But it is John Madden is correct, but he did not do. There you go.
Oh.
We correct all errors. John Madden directed Captain Corelli's, but he did not direct.
All right.
Mr. Ripley.
John Madden, isn't that like a football person? There can be only one.
There could be only one. John Madden, the director, not the fat football guy. And there's no wrong being fat, but he is big.
Don't knock the fat man, all right?
Yeah, I'm right there, but I'm just saying, he's a large man.
Sugar mode is on, people. Sugar mode is reportedly on.
Shakespeare, my bad.
I finally saw Nocturnal Animals, and goddamn, that's
fucking amazing, right?
It's a tough watch, I got to be honest, but it is very good.
Yeah. That's so good.
It was a little tough.
Really laying on the suspense really thick. And then it's like, oh, wait, is that really happening? I don't know if it happened. Did it happen? I don't know. Why is she alone at the end of the movie? Was that an old text? I don't know. I'm confused a little bit, but it's a really good movie. And
that's a big spoiler alert. But
no, that's only for people who know, because I didn't give it away any details on that. So that was for you guys. So without giving away the actual information. But it's really good. Amy Adams, speaking, if she's on a cold streak, well, she's great in this movie. So
she was nominated for Academy Award for one of the movies that we're talking about being on her cold streak. So we might be a little biased. She was not, wasn't she nominated for fucking
Elegy?
Yeah. The
Probably.
one that yeah, she was.
You guys are more the Oxford experts than I am, so I'll defer to you.
I mean, no one watched it, but she was
Nobody gave a shit, but yeah. But anyways, that's a great movie. It really is. And I didn't even know a lot about Aaron Taylor Johnson. This guy was fucking blew my mind with this performance. He won a Golden Globe, but I don't even remember that. But I was high a lot back then in 2016, so I may have forgotten. Either way, great performance. And his brother's like a good director too. So there's a lot going on. I learned a lot about stuff from that movie.
Who's his brother?
Sam Johnson.
Of what fame?
That's how they met. They met actually. Sam Johnson and Tom Ford were friends, and then they went out with Aaron one night, and Tom was so amazed by his persona. That's how he ended up getting the role. So
the fuck is Sam Johnson?
It's his brother.
Aaron Taylor Johnson's brother.
Yeah, but like, what does he make? Like, who is Sam Johnson?
It's some small time stuff. Like, it's nothing hardcore, so it's not like you'd be like, oh yeah, that movie. I think they're more indie fare, but he has an IMDb page and everything. He's a real guy. He really exists.
Samuel Johnson. He's an actor. He's produced. He's not a director, but he's an actor.
He's not directed, huh?
And not if it's the same Samuel Johnson I'm looking at, who's
right,
youngish and looking. I mean, there's no. Oh, there is a Sam Johnson as well, but it doesn't say if this person. But this guy was a producer on Frasier, so I'm going to guess that that's not Aaron Taylor Johnson's brother.
I saw Infinitely Polar Bear on your suggestion. It's such a great movie. Wow. Yeah. I loved it. It's not fun for everyone, but it's a really well done film about depression in a period where mental health wasn't always the best. Mental health care, anyway. So make sure you check that out.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Good Ruffalo.
Great Ruffalo. Him and those Ruffalo. Kids, man. Him and those kids are fucking hilarious. It's like they don't pull any punches in that movie. That's why I liked it. It's like this guy just says whatever the fuck's in his mind because he can't help it, and he doesn't get to go. He doesn't have to go to jail necessarily. Sometimes parents say weird shit, so it happens. I saw. Well, they do. You don't think they do?
I've heard all kinds of weird shit.
I knew it.
Everyone, yeah. Parents say weird shit. Shit parents say.
Literally saying the dumbest shit you can imagine right now in front of my own daughter.
Exactly.
She's like 5 weeks old, so she's
perfect.
Yeah, she's oblivious.
I went back to my 80s indies roots here, and I saw a great movie. I want to recommend it to everybody. Judd Hirsch, River Phoenix, Running on Empty. An incredible film. Sidney Lumet, too. So he has every... Yes!
Yeah.
River Phoenix. Judd Hirsch, Sidney Lumet. Good times. It's about
I feel like I literally had this erased from my memory, like in the previous email. I'd never heard of this movie. How have I missed River Phoenix and Sidney Lumet?
It's been on my radar for a long time. I've never seen it, but so I guess I'll check it out now because I was on the fence because it was just like I don't know. It's like an early '80s movie, right? Like it was like
it's late. Well, it's '88, but whatever.
Yeah. Oh, is it? Okay, well,
it's like post Stand By Me, River Phoenix. So
yeah, okay, that makes sense.
I would really like to get you guys' thoughts on it. So if you ever get around to watching it and you find it, please do.
I'll check it out.
I don't want you guys to miss out on the great stuff like that. That's what life's all about. It's about watching good movies, having good times, talking about stuff, and
Buddy Gifford.
And I think that's it.
Bully Gifford.
I will say, dude, I'm with you, and I think I'm going to cut back deliberately a little bit on my intake. Not as much because I want to go live life, whatever the fuck that means. But it's been like when I was like cramming for my comprehensive exams when I was getting for my history degree. I've just watched so many movies since we started this podcast that it's just blurring the fuck together. And like I started a Letterboxd account. I've kind of been like trying to like see, go through and like add the movies I've seen, but I just keep on getting these movies and being like, have I ever seen this? I have no fucking clue. I have no clue. And I'm going back and reading the list of stuff of movies I watched for the past year for the first time in a while and being like, I watched that. I have like so little recollection of it. Like I gotta, the recall is not great here. So I gotta, I mean, like I mentioned, just for this segment, I told you about half the movies that I watched. So I mean, I'm backing off a little bit.
Recall. He
can't sing it all.
The fuck with your brain, pal. Oh yeah, we should do that movie. That's probably at some point too. I was also thinking I had an idea for a next film I might select just as a tribute to life, but I'll keep that private for now. And either way, it's a Cinema 9 podcast. We're doing Stir of Echoes, 1990 film.
Time to get into the spoilers.
It's time to get into spoilers. That's correct. There will be spoilers. 1999 film, written and directed by David Koepp.
Coep, I believe, right?
Koepp.
I will say this. I went on a deep dive to make sure I could pronounce the name Catherine Irby. That's how you pronounce that.
Is that it? After all this time,
it's Irby.
Can confirm 2 syllables?
Definitely Irby. I went I had to go to YouTube to find like Vincent D'Onofrio like saying it in her presence was the closest I could get because I couldn't find anything with her saying it. But I found that, and I found like someone that she supposedly went to break, Travis. Somebody that she supposedly went to high school with also said that it's pronounced Irby. Yeah, I research things that make no sense sometimes.
Getting ridiculous. Take some time off, man.
Well, great.
Catherine Irby.
How do you pronounce Catherine Irby? It's 3 a.m.
So I chose this movie, and yeah, I remember seeing it a couple years after it came out. I did not see it in the theater, and I did not see it on DVD till we lived at the dump in 2002, actually. It's very possible that you had a copy or you brought it home from Blockbuster one night. Either way, that's really the only 2 scenarios. And I definitely remember sitting on that gross-ass green couch, which was later moved out to the other room, and watching this movie on that gross green couch. Or maybe it was the other one that was less gross later on. But either way, I really enjoyed it. And I was like, whoa, this is like a mystery wrapped in like, some crazy shit. But I just never looked at it as a horror or scary movie at all. But that's cool. I don't have a beef with that. I'm just saying personally, I never saw it that way. But
I don't think that you would have, picked it or maybe even liked it if you'd looked at it that way. I guess you must have looked at it as a supernatural thriller or something. But it's got literal jump scares. The movie starts, not only is there jump scares, it starts with a child singing over a dark screen. Like that kind of shit. Like, okay, this is a fucking horror movie, Mike. Like pretty standard. Actually,
yeah, I don't really. Yeah, I don't.
Creepy kid's face with like pale eyes in the first frame.
Before it even gets to David Koepp's like directed by David Koepp, like before the credits are even done, we're at a scare where he's like the kid is talking to a ghost in like an empty room. So like it's a horror movie.
I agree. I have no beef with that at all. So,
right.
What about you, Travis? Do you remember when you saw this movie?
Vaguely. I don't remember if I saw it in theaters or not. I definitely saw it early on though, because it was one that I leapt on pretty quickly. It's funny. I was looking. It came out I think a month after Sixth Sense. Now it's based on the novel A Stir of Echoes, written by Richard Matheson, also best known for I Am Legend. And that came out in like 53 or 58, somewhere in the 50s.
Yes.
And clearly, I think that book must have been an influence on The Sixth Sense because there are some major parallels between these 2 young boy characters and like their ability to see things and like interact with ghosts and stuff. There's some major similarities between these movies.
Well, that's what cleared him though, because there's also a lot of parallels that people made to The Shining, which was made in 1980.
That too.
The book was written, like you just said, the book was written in 58. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, but Shining was written in 70 or something like that. So 72, something like that. And and the movie obviously was not too long after that, but there's heavy influences of The Shining in this movie also, I would say.
What about you, Eric? Take us back in time.
Well, I remember 1999, this very month, it was I'm in the theater and it's between Stigmata, but a Patricia Arquette film and Patricia Arquette horror picture, and Stir of Echoes, both in the theater that weekend.
It's Kevin Bacon in that too, right?
No, I think Gabriel Byrne.
Gabriel Byrne, yeah. So I mean, Patricia.
Maybe that's what happened. That's how I got it in my brain because I always mixed up. It's so weird that you mentioned that, Eric, because I always mixed up Stigmata and Stir of Echoes for like years.
That's why, because you're in the theater and you didn't know which one to go for. Clearly, you want a Patricia Arquette film because I mean, it's so beautiful.
Wow. So they came out on the same weekend. Okay, that makes sense. Same weekend.
So did I. And then I caught it on DVD. And I remember even early on, fellas, this had like a cult following even very early on. And I think it's because of that competition. They call these twin movies, Deep Impact, Armageddon, Volcano, Dante's Peak. That whole deal was even being talked about then. So even in '99, there was this like, oh, I'm in the Stir of Echoes club more so than the Sixth Sense club. And I was like, okay, this is like a solid Tales from the Crypt episode. Then I saw it again a few years later. I've seen it a few times, and every time I had watched it, I'd be like wanting to think it's good so I can be like, oh yeah, this is like a good cult movie. Fuck Sixth Sense. But I had always been like, it's just okay. But it's been like 15 years, so I was excited to come back.
Fabulous. Well, I told Eric that Stigmata and Stir of Echoes came on the same weekend, and I just always mixed them up for years, and that makes a lot of sense to me now why I did that, because I always did that. I don't know the score on this. I'm going to guess for the IMDb score of Stir of Echoes, it's a 6.2. I think it's not like mind-blowing, but it's okay. It's average.
I saw it. Did you see it, Eric?
I saw it. I couldn't believe it.
Well, I'm pretty sure I saw it. I think it was like a 7.1. Is that right? 7?
7, I think.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. 7 even on the nose. That is correct. Well done.
7.
Wow. I thought that was way off. I guess people have more respect for this movie than I realized, which is kind of cool, actually.
7's pretty high. 7's pretty good on IMDb, and that makes sense to me. This movie was pretty highly regarded whatever parallels the Sixth Sense. People didn't seem to mind, for one. Like it didn't get like Deep Impact Armageddon comparisons or anything. They're different enough.
Yeah, its cult status was pretty solidified almost immediately just because of that relationship with the other picture. So I'm not surprised at this rating. I do wonder how many folks that rated it this high have seen it lately, but we'll talk about that.
Tip in your hand.
68% from the thermometer, by the way, guys.
Is the popcorn tipped over?
No, it's 70%.
That is upright.
Oh, shit.
Absolutely. It's very tight, 68 and 70. So the critics and the fans are together on this one, basically, which is always nice to have unity. We always could use a little bit more unity in our world.
As one stand together.
Unity! It's God for the brother, man. As far as reviews from critics, how about Jack Garner? Sometimes we mix in Jack Garner of the Rochester Democrat and Chronicle, just because it's just such a dumb name.
Solid name, Jack Gardner.
Jack Garner from Rochester Democrat and Chronicle.
Private Eye? Like
Stuntman or Private Eye? Take your pick.
Who knows? In its own smart, spooky way, Stir of Echoes with Kevin Bacon, thank you for that, is nearly as good as its Bruce Willis predecessor. There it is. Whoop. Press the button every time there's a Sixth Sense comparison.
But I don't think it's fair to call Sixth Sense really his predecessor. I mean, it literally came out, like they're in production at the same time, and it's based on a book that preceded
40 years.
Sixth Sense, by decades. So I don't think.
And M. Night Shyamalan is a known, allegedly
he plucks.
Completely ripped off The Village.
Yeah, he plucks from here and there. Yeah, he does.
He plucks. He pulls. Yuck.
Yeah.
He does.
He's a plucker.
He's a real plucker. Phoebe Flowers of the Miami Herald says,
also a made-up name.
Kepe?
Co-op?
Cap.
Co-op. Keep. Co-op relies almost entirely on the isolated, shocking images, ignoring the human element at the center in favor of digitalized special effects and rapid-fire editing. Ooh. Is that totally true?
I don't totally agree with that, but I think I see what she's saying.
Okay. Roger Ebert, Stir of Echoes is a supernatural thriller firmly rooted in a blue-collar Chicago neighborhood, we know Roger loves that, where everyone on the block knows one another, although not as well as they think. Kevin Bacon stars in one of his best performances.
Eric, I was really curious about this. What do you think of Kevin Bacon's Chicago accent?
You know what? God bless you for that question. And it's non-existent. But I used to drive past this very house that they filmed it in quite often in Logan Square when I lived in Chicago. And the picture does do a good job of creating this very small, tight-knit neighborhood for what it's worth. I think, in my opinion, we'll get into it, but I don't understand why it takes place in Chicago, especially in a little neighborhood like this. I'm wondering if the book is similar or if it's in suburbia, like proper. Like I personally think it should be. But yeah, you guys didn't research the book at all, did you?
Just a tad. I did not the plot. Like
that would be
location.
Yeah, no. Before we move into that, though, I got to give this to you, Desson Thompson.
No.
Vibrant. Unsettling.
Fucking the brevity of Desson Thompson lately has been unbelievable.
Definitely didn't get paid by the word.
No. All right. You're to the point about the street, the neighborhood feeling.
Please.
Like I do think that's one of the most humanizing elements of the film. Like is the neighbors, like, you know, like the wife like sipping her drink, like when they start fighting, like it's always got to be a fight. You even get like a whole thing with that kid running out of the house first, and you see him like run through like another house and like steal beer and then like, you know, there's a lot of like these humanizing elements throughout it. I thought even the landlord, it's a rented house. I really sympathize with the landlord, despite the fact that he ends up being the killer. Part of me is like, I want to kill someone too if they did that to my house.
This is a decent neighborhood.
Kevin Dunn is pissed. Kevin Dunn's big moment. Has he ever had a bigger role?
Not since Funkabees.
Dude, he was so fucking fantastic. J. Edgar Hoover in, I think, 13 Days with Kevin Costner, Mike. Can you confirm?
Yeah, but that was more minimalist. This is. I thought too that the same thing, Travis. This was Kevin Dunn's big night. This was like this is probably the biggest you'll ever see him on screen. Maybe there's a movie I didn't see, like Dunstan checks in or some shit. I don't know, where he was like a main character.
Dunn checks in.
Dunn checks in.
Jason Alexander stars with Kevin Dunn as a chimpanzee in Dunn checks in.
Oh, that's so stupid. But yeah, Kevin Dunn's great. Kevin Bacon, really good. When Kevin Bacon gets pissed after he's digging, by the way, he really had to do, I think he really did hurt himself. All the digging and the pitchforking and or not the pickaxing, I mean. Yeah, they were trying to find a light one, apparently, according to the IMDb trivia, that would be easier on him, but it just didn't look as real on screen. So every time you see him throwing a sledgehammer, throwing that pickaxe, he's grinding.
He starts his career as this like boyish, like gumpy like kid who's funny and kind of wholesome. But then there's like 10 years of these ghoulish supporting roles. So I distinctly remember seeing this for the first time and being like, why Kevin Bacon? Like, I'm kind of like creeped out and like put off from him on the onset, just because of like his established role as an actor. I could never get really into him as like this family man almost at all from the onset.
Well, so he's like a reluctant family man, though, which is one of the, like, again, a humanizing thing about the story. Like, one of the things I always liked about this movie is like they didn't really need to give you so much backstory and like enrich this character, and like and some of it's a little cliche, but like, you know, but maybe even more than a little, but still it's I like that, you know. And it's funny because it's like you're Kevin Bacon wrestling with having an ordinary life. You've been famous your whole fucking life. Like you don't have to wrestle with having an ordinary life. But I do like that. I mean, like it creates this whole tension in the movie between him and his wife and stuff that you really sense that they have a good relationship overall. And that they, you know, she, like at one point she says to him, "In all the 8 years I've known you, you've never spoken to me like this." You get a sense like they have a very loving and good relationship, but like the tension that's, you know, that everything's going to come to a head here in every way in their lives.
Yeah, and Lisa's character says, "You guys are like the best couple I know." Yeah, so there's a lot of other people reinforcing the fact that they're a legit couple, and she says, "You're not the only woman who's had to carry a crazy family through harsh times." So. I think they're, as a couple, I find them totally believable. And, you know, Ileana Douglas and the cattiness that she has with Tom, which comes right off the bat when she finds out that Maggie's pregnant. Mm-hmm. And she can envision it. And the whole fact of, so this is something where I always lost my way with these types of movies. So I want your guys' opinion. So Tom gets awoken because that one night they're partying, having a nice time, and you know, Lisa says, "Why don't you go under?" She doesn't want to do it at first because she realized how powerful she might be. But Tom thinks it's bullshit. He's like, "Let's do it." So when that happens, you guys are like, "Well, that's just what happens in the story. Now we're moving forward." Or you're like, "That's dumb."
It's the type of shit that would absolutely happen at a block party for people in their 40s, like just like fucking around and on the couch. Like, I got a special talent. What troubles me more is the fact that after he gets hypnotized, knows clearly that it's because of this hypnotism that he has these weird visions, that he waits like a month before he goes back and he's like, hey, what the fuck happened back there?
Yeah, he calls her the next day and balls her out, but then like he takes him like a long time to be like, hey, I want you to undo. He just before he shows up, like, why did you? But maybe he kind of likes it. He does say to Catherine Irby at one point, this is the most important thing, which, by the way, never say to your wife something's more important to you than your wife. Yeah, but like, I've never been married. I know that. But yeah, he said, like, I think that's it. I think that he's excited about what's going on. This is a new power and a new ability. This is like all consuming. There's a reason why he's obsessed with it. He's letting himself be obsessed with it. Now, as far as the hypnotism stuff goes, I agree that is a believable scene. I always cringe when I see hypnotism in movies. Like I give Get Out a pass, but like for the most part, like I just really hate the convention of hypnotism because I really think that hypnotism is bullshit. But you know what? But 8%,
8%, Travis, you could be one.
I will say this: her line about hypnotizing people during surgery, I'm like, fuck you, that's bullshit. I've got to look into this. It's a thing. It's a thing that is still happening for brain surgery, even. Like people practice hypnotherapy to carve open skulls in America in the past 10 years.
Repeat what you just said. I don't understand what you're saying. Like
they'll have an anesthesiologist on hand to, like, just in case they have to put you under. But like for like brain surgery, like you kind of have to be awake. And a lot of times they'll like put you under, cut your skull open, wake you up, have you do the stuff that they need you to do to make sure they're not like, make it so you can't see anymore. And then they put you back under and then, sew your head back together, whatever the fuck. But like, there's people, if they're like suggestive, and again, like I think hypnosis is bullshit, but like there's like legitimate, like, articles and pretty reputable papers about this. I was like, well, shit, I don't know. I found it interesting.
Have you either of you two ever been to a hypnotherapist?
No, but I do try to see when I watch movies that like when they try to hypnotize the patient, I do try to see if they could hypnotize me by like following along with what the main character is doing.
Yeah. That's what it says in the IMDb trivia. If he actually follows what hypnotherapists would do, blah, blah, blah. I've actually been to, I tried it once. I went to a real person and I sat down in her office and I tried to cure my fear of flying. It didn't work. So,
from what I understand, like it's bullshit. Is this whole idea is the one thing that the basis is like that you would never do something under hypnosis that you would never do under any usual circumstances. Why is she like stabs him instead of like maybe has him like bark like a dog?
Right?
Fucking weird. Like
your friends and family are like, oh, you're mutilating my friend.
Yeah, and he has tears running down his face, and Kevin Dunn's like, ah, Joey Luca, what the fuck, man? Nice friend, asshole. Well, and at that point, Kevin Dunn's character went through the trauma of his son accidentally killing someone. You think he'd be a little more empathetic, but no, he's got to put on a show no matter what.
I kind of find Kevin Dunn's character kind of fascinating because he ends up being like not a good guy, obviously, but he ends up like saving the day.
I got a perfect thing. He ends up being a decent guy, just like his neighbor.
He ends up being a decent guy, just like his neighbor. That's perfect. But there's all kinds of signaling going on throughout the movie that he sucks. For instance, the fact that he's constantly checking out underage girls in front of his wife throughout like the first 15, 20 minutes of the movie. He's just like, that's all he's doing is talking about and looking at underage girls directly in front of his wife. It's like, Christ, obviously he's the killer, and then I'm like, oh, nope. No, I guess that the guy that's really excited about young women's bodies is not the killer. He's actually the decent one. That's surprising.
Right. Well, I remember the first time I saw it, I guess I was a little surprised. It's always hard to go back to that first time you see a movie, especially when it's been like 18 years, but Kevin Dunn's great. Ileana Douglas is awesome. All the acting's fantastic. But as far as the hypnosis shit, whatever, that's what starts the thing. It leads to fucking the Chicago guy. They're filming in Chicago. It's a Chicago movie. They got to have one of the reputable, routine Chicago actors come in, just like when they did The Fugitive. That guy was in The Fugitive. It ends up being the other, soothsayer, the guy who can see the
Neil?
world. Neil. Yes, Neil. I just laughed when I saw him on camera.
You mean?
Yeah.
Scatman Crothers.
That's exactly, Travis, that's exactly what I thought too. Those are the two things I thought. Oh, hey, it's the guy from The Fugitive in Chicago. He must be a Chicago-based actor. And Scatman Crothers.
So like the Scatman Crothers thing is like, it's so clearly lifted that it's like awkward and annoying. Ileana Douglas's character as being the other kind of shaman, I guess, character, the other kind of, she's a witch, the other supernatural touch point in the film. I find her really interesting and well done. I mean, sometimes she's annoying, but like to take like the witch character basically, and that's what she just calls herself, which I think is cool because I've known quite a few women that consider themselves witches. So it's kind of nice to see that represented for one. And for two, like to make her the comedy relief is a very interesting choice. I thought to like, because she should be the creepy one. She should be, oh, I'm the one that has opened your mind and all this stuff. But instead, she's like cracking one-liners in every scene that she's in. And one of my biggest pet peeves in movies is when people just hang up out of nowhere. And I love that it cut to her being like, oh, all right, well, fuck you too, and hanging up after Kevin Bacon hangs up on her. Another like tiny little moment. They just throw little things in there.
I dig it. And I think they could have maybe benefited from maybe doing something other than having him come back to her and her being like, I don't fucking know. All right, see ya. Then completely checking out of the movie. Maybe if she had like to fumble her way through a solution of anything, like, at all, that did kind of bug me. But yeah, funny character. I don't know where she's been lately.
By the way, Eddie Bo Smith.
As Scatman Crothers?
Eddie Bo Smith Jr. Hell of what a handle on. That's him. That's Neil the Cop. And that's also what he's called in the credits, Neil the Cop.
She goes to the cemetery. He's like, hey, come back tonight. I'll tell you what's up. She goes there.
No. He makes it very clear. Tell your husband to come back.
Tell daddy.
She broke the rules.
Tell somebody to come
all those bozos
here.
In that room are fucking weird. I watched it twice this week, and I'm like, what's going on? These guys are like very, very intense. But I guess they're acting like Tom was with the paranoia back there. So,
does she, after she like talks to him, does she like report back to Tom on any of this, or does she like just leave town? Like, what is this subplot?
There's a bigger problem even still in that she doesn't report back to Tom about it at all. Instead, she gets exposition. She gets shit explained to her. Your son is going to be bothered by this ghost because the ghost wants him to do something specific, and you're going to be pestered by this ghost until that is done. So she takes that information, keeps it to herself, goes back home, finds her husband digging the shit out of everything. And I got another point to make about that in a second.
I do too. I better know what it is.
I've got so many. Yeah.
Goes back to him and she's like, what are you doing? Who told you to dig? Why are you digging? Please stop digging. Like, what the fuck, woman? You just had this shit all laid out to you. Like, you know,
creepy guys in the back.
Right. You know exactly what he's doing, who told him to do it, what he's looking for, and why. Why are you being a fucking dick about this for? Why are you being a hard on? Like it's only because it serves the plot, I guess. And then my other point, which I'm guessing you guys are going to agree with me, if you've been cask of Amontillado, why the fuck are you going to tell somebody to dig? You want to tell them knock down.
Or at least pulverize, right? Because it's cement.
I actually didn't think of that at all. That's fucking great. What I actually thought of is she leaves Neil the Cop and she goes back to the house, right? Yeah. It's fucking dark out when she's at Neil the Cop's house. They go back, he's digging in the daylight in the backyard. Is that assumed to be the same night, or did they move on from the day?
There might be something in between.
The whole dig.
I remember. I don't think there is, actually.
I don't think there is.
I don't think there is either.
I was kind of like mildly enjoying myself until the dig. The dig is like the classic, like what are you gonna have like main character do? How about like he has to like dig because he's paranoid, like for like a half hour, and like let's get rid of the family so we can just like have it concentrate on him. Like,
yeah, but at least they give him the music thing.
Has to leave because
the music thing was fun.
Dies. Was it? We could get into the music thing. Like he's like this, like supposed like would be musician or even has been popular musician. He doesn't know fucking Paint It Black. Well, that's like not knowing Happy Birthday. It
was a cover.
He does know Paint It Black. But like he hears the melody and he doesn't know exactly which song that he's looking for. He knows the melody, and that's why he's going through all of his records trying to find the melody to figure out what song it is that's in his head. So like, which that could work, that could not work. Yeah, I don't know. Mike, how'd you like the many dream sequences in this film?
I actually was not bothered by this.
There's some decent dream sequences. The way it's constructed, not great, but decent.
I see them as okay. To me, I saw the one. Well, when he goes home that night after he's been hypnotized, when they have sex. He woke up and then he had another dream through that. That I can allow, but I didn't really see another dream sequence after that, unless I missed something.
Oh, when he wakes up on the couch and his boot is underneath the couch, and
that's right. Oh, fuck yeah!
Huge dream sequence.
Yeah, the one where the future is laid out for him in the dream, and then it actually happens right after the fact. Yeah,
I very much thought of you.
Thank you. You're right. You were completely correct on that. That was the one. The other one didn't bother me. Although I thought it was really bizarre. I don't know why they do this in these movies. You guys know they do these in scary films where they mix sex and violence together. I just don't know why that has to be a thing.
I actually kind of like that because it made sense, because his mind is for the first time opened up to the ghost, and the ghost is totally, I mean, like they don't make it super obvious, but it's pretty clear she's being raped when she's murdered later on. Like there's rape that's happening here. They're just not being super explicit about it, but like his movements and stuff. So she's traumatized. So he's feeling her trauma. He's feeling her PTSD. Like she like, to her, she's like, as like any, like, naturally she's like seeing sex, and it's triggering this stuff for her, and in turn it's triggering it for him. So I actually thought that was pretty well done. Like it's disturbing as it should be, the nail snapping and all that stuff, but I actually thought that was pretty well done.
If you look in the mirror, and it seems like there may be a small issue with one of your primary front teeth, are you going to proceed to tear it out of your skull?
That was a dream. That was a
that was all. That was an image. He was just looking in the mirror and he thought it happened and it didn't. It's like, oh, I'm fine now. It's that classic thing where the guy, what's the other movie? The guy tears his face off from the mirror, but he's fine. Doesn't that happen somewhere?
The Royal Tenenbaums?
No,
Poltergeist.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's cool. It's just a mirror.
How about, all right, so here's a couple complaints about some of the creepiness. Her recorded walking backwards and then played forward, like so she's like all jerky, like that whole bit. Like, I'm like, okay, we've like, this is probably not the first time. Like, that's okay. I wasn't crazy about it, but it was okay. What I had a problem with, there's a fucking straight up, there's a Tool sober moment. You guys catch the Tool sober moment where the screen just clips real quick to like a head moving really quickly back and forth?
Oh yeah.
And the fucking like sound, like, oh my God, we're so in the 90s. They're doing the Tool video thing. Like every fucking thing for like 10 years had to do the Tool head.
Who did it first? Is that the Jacob's Ladder move or the Tool move? That's the classic head spin of Jacob's Ladder.
That's true.
And then what came first? House on Haunted Hill. House on Haunted Hill brought it back in '99, but it was
this was '99.
Yeah, '99 was the year of the Tool move.
That's a good point. That's a good point. I
That's interesting. Then, yeah. We're talking about Stir of Echoes here. We've been talking about it for a while here. We're talking about,
half an hour.
Even though we made fun. You made fun, Eric. You made light of the digging scene. Kevin Bacon really puts himself into that, and I actually was kind of moved. But by the time he starts saying, the whole spiel that Travis already alluded to about this is the most important thing I've ever done in my life, and my life is ordinary up to this point. Even after that, he walks away. He's like, I can't stop. I won't stop. He's very, very emotive about it, and I thought it was really good acting, which is weird because it's supposed to be like a scary movie to me, where I don't expect that quite often. And I thought, I really bought it. I did. This guy's obsessed. He can't stop. He cannot stop. And he's really trying to express that to his wife, who should have, as we already covered, she should know what he's going through by now because she already went to the expositionist.
She doesn't bother telling him. You do realize we're going to have to talk about another movie about where someone paranoiacally digs in their backyard while their wife leaves town because she can't handle it anymore.
Oh, that's true. We're going to do that very soon.
We are. Well, that's going to be funny, though. So that's fine. And this one was less funny. And he made. So what about this kid? All right. So.
Oh, my God. Fucking kid, dude.
Oh, what is that? Oh, tell me what
There's
that
so
means.
many issues with this kid. My primary issue with the kid, I can deal with like a creepy kid seeing ghosts. They don't even like help him or even like talk to him about like his issue that's going on. Even by the end of the story, like what the fuck is going on here with their
someone hitting you,
child? There's no consolation.
Well, really the only person that understands is Tom, but he's trying to use him, his son.
Hey, how about ask him to see what the fuck the ghost wants? So we're gonna have to sit here wondering. And
well, he does try to do that a little bit on the couch after they come home from that second party or where the fuck they were. Oh no, when his Samantha's sister steals him, that whole thing happened, and then they come back from that. That was a whole other affair.
Another really bad actor, that babysitter, like trying to like yelling at the fucking train station is so
really.
It's hard.
Like it was blatantly bad. I thought it was just like standard issue.
In my opinion,
what is?
No, I want to hear it. I want to hear.
What is the plan? What is this babysitter's plan?
Like, she's not trying to run away with the kids. She is taking it to her mom, who works at the train station. Like
that's the beef I had, though. That's the beef I had with it. It's not. I didn't think about the girl's bad acting. I thought about this mother. She could have cut that scene in half by saying, "Oh, I'm the mother, and that's why she's here." No, instead they let them all go. Not right away. There's a whole bunch of stuff like, "Hey, the cop shuts her up like 3 times. Oh, who are you? And what's this?" It's like, dude, just say you're the mother. That's why you're at the train station. They're not trying to take off.
I do like that it's not like the movie's not simply about a haunting. It's about being psychic and living in a haunted place. Because like the whole sequence where like he's seeing red when he looks at her and danger, like that all has like nothing to do with the ghost. Like, I mean, I think that when I first watched it, or maybe the first couple times I watched it, I thought like the ghost was doing it or something. I didn't quite understand that he was like, he's psychic now. And I thought that was pretty cool. Like the moments, especially where he like, you know, like he knows that her grandmother has died before the grandmother. Like, no. So there's like kind of like two things going on at once. It's a supernatural story, but it's also like a, you know, classic kind of psychic movie in some ways. And that was kind of cool.
He gets really thirsty after the visions.
Oh, that's so dumb. Orange juice. Who wants to chug orange juice to quench their thirst? No,
honey, I bought all the orange juice.
It did remind me a lot of Roy Neary character in Close Encounters. As far as the paranoia was concerned, I didn't have too much of a problem with that.
Did Minute Maid give like $50,000 for this movie? Or what?
The orange juice looked delicious.
It did make me want to. I mean, it made me want to go chug orange juice, but I have an unopened carton in my fridge, so not that much.
God, that just sounds so horrible. If I was dying of a thirst, who came up with this stupid character quirk? Hey, let's make him really thirsty, but you know what he's really thirsty for? Not water or Gatorade or like Pedialyte.
MGD at the party.
Yeah, he does slam a beer at Ileana Douglas's house.
That was that was right at the beginning, though. He didn't even know what the thirst was. He just knew he was thirsty.
When he goes back, when he goes back and asks her the second time
when he kicks out her friend. By the way, is that her lover or her friend? I wasn't really clear.
I kind of think that may have been a lover.
That's what I thought too. Like because they're gonna be drinking and I don't know. Anyways, that doesn't matter. But I kind of like it if it is.
Yeah.
All right. What else?
I think they would have made it more overt in another time if it was made today.
I thought maybe she was like a what would you call a client of hers? Even maybe she wanted to come over and like talk about her psychic experience. So, who cares? That's not part of the movie. But the kid sucks. You guys are really. I didn't think. Did we get it clear from you, Travis, why the kid bummed me out? Because I don't know.
I just thought he was like. Look, again, like we've been over this. I clearly don't like child actors. I just don't. They're usually pretty bad.
Neither do I.
I mean, because for the same reason I don't like bad actors. Like they're just not good at it. You know, if they're not good, they're not good. They can't all be fucking. You know, Bobby Millie Brown, whatever the fuck her name is. I always get it wrong. You know, so I try to give him some credit, but like. It just feels very much like someone like was, you know, like David Coop was off screen. Directing. He was directing the child. He was coaching the child. Be creepier.
Be creepy.
More.
Be You're creepier. Awake now, Daddy. Give me
right. Like that. Like it's just. Stupid. It just felt like it took me out of it almost every moment that the child speaks. It took because every moment. You know, maybe just remind me that I was watching a bad actor, which again, like he's a little kid, but you know.
Why did it matter that the kid could see ghosts at all? If he gets hypnotized and he has to go through this story, this ploy, this plot to figure out the murder, why does it matter that the kid sees him? Because it's like creepy?
Because he doesn't die from the feathers.
Which again, like, what was he going to sprint upstairs to the bed and lay down the second he got in, and like he would not have been in any. Like, obviously, it's good that he wasn't there for a shootout, but he wouldn't have been anywhere near the bed.
No, we're going to put you to bed while we have this big fight downstairs.
Right, like she comes in the house with a knife in hand. If anything, she would have left him out in the car. Like
he reminded her though, take your purse, mommy. He might have saved her life.
Yeah, and I like that she's like she comes in like she knows something's wrong. She senses something wrong, which doesn't take a psychic. Just she senses something's wrong, and she comes in and she saves the day. I mean, Kevin Dunn, who inexplicably fires off a shot fires off a shot. Like what? I guess he shoots it into the sky to like make the audience think that he killed himself.
So movie lameness 101.
Movie.
God, you're right. He didn't shoot anybody. It's just an audience fake out.
He shot him to get him out of there, and there's no
dumb.
need for a second shot because he was way out of the bottom of the basement by the time he was upstairs.
And the people staying on the front porch didn't hear the gun fire.
Yeah, this is a decent neighborhood. Come on, there should be people engaged in the situation.
What is with this girl too? Like, I mean, God bless the young actress. She does what she can. Like, is there supposed to be like? Is she just like naive or something? Because that neighbor's like, oh, she's retarded. She's a retard. They're like, oh,
yeah, but that guy's an asshole. That guy's an asshole.
But there's nothing wrong with her. Like,
she's just could just be a nerd or something. She just be a socially inept. Like, hey, nobody likes me. Doesn't mean there's anything wrong with her except what they think.
Oh, I don't know. She wore glasses.
Oh shit.
There's no immediate deficiency that can be except that she was uncool. Hey, you know what? She's uncool, so she's a loser. She deserves to die.
I will say, like the other dude, the landlord or whatever. I don't think they took it. I complain a little bit about this location. I personally think the film would have done better and had more to say in like a suburban neighborhood, like a typically 90s suburban neighborhood. But the one thing I do like is the fact that this landlord is trying to cover up this murder for like the purposes of gentrification, call it what you want to. I don't think they milked enough.
Oh, no.
His son was there.
They're trying to save their children's lives.
Yeah, it's got nothing to do with
Isn't he trying to cover up the murder so like his neighborhood won't be like murder capital of Chicago?
What?
Maybe
No.
Kevin Dunn has some view of that, but the main thing
thought
is
that
to
was the
save
whole
their
idea of that character.
No, their children were the murderers, and they're protecting their children, their sons.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
well, I think there could have been something there, like, hey, cover up the murder so we could like these rents will go through the roof because the neighborhood.
That could be a tiny part of it.
Yeah, like maybe a little bit, but like that's
I never took that.
Rent murder. Come on, you like tenant fraud?
What is this, Pacific Heights?
Pacific Heights? There's something there. Fuck it, man. I'm remaking
as soon as that jackhammer goes off across the street, they show you a scene of the guy noticing that, and he owns that fucking house.
Which it makes sense for him to be like, what the fuck? You shouldn't have a jackhammer. And by the way, did you buy a used jackhammer? Because all the paint is scraped off of it.
That fucking goes, man.
And the guy who's already covered up a murder and is very aggressive. Clearly, he's an aggro dude. He's like, "Oh, this is a rental. Gosh darn it!" And then he goes about his business for like another 5-8 hours.
That's another one of my points about rental horror. Come on now,
rental horror. Well, I mean, I rent a house. I cannot begin to imagine the state I would need to be in to take a sledgehammer to the fucking basement floor and be like, "Oh, I'm going to pay for that. Don't worry."
I'm sorry, but you wouldn't watch a slasher film where a fucking landlord goes around like causing murders or something to like have some sort of weird calculated effect on the cost of living in his neighborhood?
What is that? The backwards of dollar bill from The Crow?
Yes.
Billow horror.
Well done. Well, if I hadn't had audio issues, we could go another 10 minutes, but I do have to go. Shit. So I want to let's come to a conclusion on this, even though we still got 40 minutes. So let's
busy fucking guy.
Yeah, hey,
what do you gotta go?
I can't believe my audio was fucked. That never happens to me. That was a rare moment, but these things happen. So, Eric, Travis, who wants to go first? Should I go first? I don't know who goes first anymore.
You picked it, but I haven't gone first in a while. I'll go ahead and go first. I like there's plenty of things that I like about this movie that I've always liked about this movie. I like that at the end of the movie that the kid has no resolution, like you said, Eric. I mean, like the thing ends for Tom. He gets his door back closed, I guess. Well, actually, does his door even get closed? Does Tom continue to be psychic? I guess
according to Neil, he's clear, but
I don't know. But I like that the kid is still like, well, he's still clearly fucked. Like he's like covering his ears as the movie ends. One of my favorite scenes in the movie is actually the slow push on the U-Haul van at the end, where you see Catherine Irby and Kevin Bacon going back and forth as they're carrying stuff out of the house. And there's this moment where they just kind of like touch hands and very slowly like hold hands and keep moving. You don't get this big tearful scene like, hey, we have resolved all of our issues. Like, I understand our marriage is no longer threatened. Like, it's a really, really well done scene of showing them moving, literally, it's the word moving is right behind them, like moving forward. So and like having that moment of connection that's like even more, I think, powerful in some ways than like a kiss or something like that. So there is tons of stuff that I like about this movie. When it ended, though, like I sat there for a while just being like, does it hold up? Like I thought about maybe putting this one in the rare memento class of like, but I really try not to do that. I do think that it's one that, like, if you've never seen it before, it's going to have a pretty big, it's going to have a bigger impact on you than if you haven't. Like, obviously, that's kind of the premise of lots of movies,
Yeah, it is.
But as far as like holding up on, as far as rewatchability goes, like this goes down some really familiar paths and, treads some pretty familiar ground. And ultimately, I got pretty bored through a lot of it, and I'm gonna have to say that it just barely doesn't hold up. I would recommend watching it if you've never seen it before. You're not listening to this if you haven't, but it's not something like it. When it was over, I was not like, you know what, I really should have revisited that sooner. No, I was good. So
okay, there it is.
Go ahead, Mike.
All right, well, I chose this movie. It's called Stir of Echoes, and it has Kevin Bacon in it and other people. Kevin Dunn. I love Kevin Dunn more than Kevin Bacon. 6 months. Kevin Dunn getting emotional, powerful, very aggro too at times. He's a weird character, but I love that character alone. I can watch this movie just because Kevin Dunn's in it, and he's a lot of fun for me to see him on screen, even when he's in terrible emotional pain. So it's just real simple for me. It moves quickly. Sure, there's bullshit. But I'm not like aficionado of this particular genre, so it's just like, is it interesting enough for me? Yeah, it's interesting enough. Actually, last week I thought about the Memento characteristic, and I was like, no, yeah, I like you agree. Can't pull that out very often. We got to keep that to a minimum, so I'm not doing that. I just think it's entertaining enough. A little stale. The kid sucks. Neil the cop, whatever.
Neil the cop. Neil Carruthers.
Eddie Smith Jr., whatever the hell his name is. Good Chicagoland actor, no doubt about it. So this movie holds up because it's fun enough for me. There's nothing in it that's like egregious on a level that like societal standards would be like, oh God, that is taboo. There's really not a lot of taboo stuff in this at all. If anything, it's just like, it shows you the movie can go through the test of time and not really have to put itself by stepping in shit to look worse in 20 years or so. So good job, Stir of Echoes. It's a rock solid movie. It's not a mind blower. It's not the greatest movie ever, but it holds up.
This movie sucks. It doesn't hold up at all. Cliche buffoonery from start to finish. Some interesting things in '99, but for me, the story is all over the place. Like, it's these small things. Like, if you're gonna have like one of your opening scenes be your wife saying she's pregnant and you like being disappointed about it and be like, oh, bummer. But like at the end, you don't have some commentary on it. Like maybe like you could have him like pick up and kiss his son and be like, family's everything. There's nothing really there at all. Like he hardly even talks to his son unless like he wants to like get some info from him. The whole affair just seems like something that like an 8th grader would think is scary to me. There's some flirtation with maybe like how you could comment on how you have to come to terms with change and growing up. We've got this like musician who like is worried about that he's not going anywhere. In fact, he's openly complaining about it. They don't really say too much about the evolution of this character. He's just like, guy gets weird, gets paranoid. They figured out who killed the woman. It's over. It's not enough for me. And God bless you if you like it. I'm glad that you like it. For me, I think this is tired, limp trash that doesn't hold up at all.
Totally knew that you felt that way because in our ongoing text thread, you sent us a picture of Kevin Bacon's face and then the emoji of like the half a frowny face, which kind of suggested to me that you felt half frowny about the movie.
Yeah, that was a spoiler alert. That's fine though. Didn't change my opinion of anything. I stuck true to my guns.
I find it really interesting, not only that you picked a horror movie, but that you found that it held up, and then the 2 horror fans were not a fan. That's interesting.
Wow, that's it. Yeah.
If anything, it makes sense probably because, like I said, you guys are more diverse and much more well versed in all that.
Well,
shit,
I mean, it's whatever. I mean, like
trash is trash, man.
No, I'm genuinely glad that like one of us said that it hold up because I mean, like I find it to be a pretty middling movie. So like
it is.
On
middling movies can hold up, by the way.
So. Sure, absolutely. On the Facebook, we recently did our was it every 2 months we do the listener's choice selection. I chose the supposed closet of movies to be chosen from, and we have a winner. The winner is 1989's The Burbs, which does in fact it does in fact feature someone digging in the backyard and the wife leaving, as mentioned earlier. So this is a movie that when we do this the selection game, it's often ends up being something that we are usually pretty sure how we feel about going in. There's not necessarily a lot of question of whether or not it holds up, but I'm really looking forward to watching The Burbs and talking about it next week with you fellas.
Yeah, there's no need to tune into this one at the end to find out if it holds up or not. So,
yeah, we're just gonna have a lot of fun nitpicking our favorite parts, talking about the fact that Nicky Cat was in it.
Pizza
as like Corey Feldman's friend.
Yeah. And the next time we go through the rotation, we'll have a guest host again. It will be Eric's wife, Ange. But if you want to be a part of the selection process, follow us on Facebook. You can play the game. We do it every couple of months, and then
play the game, Harding.
Play the game, Harding. And then if you want to supply the list of movies, reach out to us and let us know if you'd be interested in doing that. We can tap, some other folks that are interested in doing that. So by all means, let us know, and we appreciate the support of the Cinema 9 podcast.
Reach out, touch me, okay. All right, so. That's it. Next week, live Cinema 9 podcast at Proton Mail.
That song. What is that song? How do I know that song?
I don't know. It doesn't ring a bell. Yeah, I'm a professional musician, but I don't know. Next week, we'll do The Burbs. Boy, I don't even know what I think. I just love The Burbs so much. It's just going to be...
It's going to be like RoboCop.
It's going to be a lot of sound. There'll be a lot of audio on the next week's show. So. It's about a 9 on the tension scale there, Rube. So make sure you guys keep it down. Take it easy.
Aim with the frame.
Sardine.
We'll see if
we're excited.
We're all going to eat sardines live on air with mustard, wherever the fuck he put. Is it just sardine on a pretzel, really?
Jesus Christ, sorry.
We'll see if any of us sneeze repetitively nonstop for the next 5 minutes afterwards. So.
We're very excited, obviously.
Yep. It's going to be great. All right. So if you guys have any comments on our Stir of Echoes commentary, cinema9pod@protonmail.com, and you can DM us. Make sure you're letting me know if it's a public DM or not. Apparently, Russell was like, it wasn't necessarily for everyone, but hey, he forgave me.
I had a feeling.
Already been cleared up. You had a feeling, and you were right.
I
am a human who's fallible, and I will make mistakes. I make that very clear.
I can't stop this feeling deep inside. Oh, we still recording?
Yeah. Yep, that's it. All right, thanks, everybody. We're out of here.